Amen. All right. You guys ready to have some fun? Sounds like it. We are back in the book of Song of Solomon, the one book in all the Bible that is about love and romance and sex and marriage. So if you're here this morning and you're a kid, there's kissy stuff with no murders by pirates. All right, guys. Am I going to trade you for the charismatics? If you're here this morning and you're a Presbyterian, there's kissy stuff and there's no murder by pirates. I'm sorry. If you're here this morning and you're a Baptist, there is wine and it's good. I'm sorry. If you're here this morning and you are a Pentecostal, you're in the right place because we're going to teach you about the biblical use of tongues. All right, there. Thanks. Thank you. All right, let's get into it, huh? Chapter 1, verse 2. Let him kiss me with the kisses of his mouth, for your love is better than wine. Okay, out of the gate, here we go. Here's what you need to notice. Who speaks first? The woman does, right? She speaks first, and she speaks most often in this book. Who has a biblical marriage? That's supposed to be a joke. Nobody thinks that's funny. Somebody's just not allowed to laugh, right? We need to stop here for a second. The woman speaks first. She speaks most often, and mostly what she's doing throughout this book is she's initiating. And that's important because if your default view of romance is that men are the ones who have desire, they're the ones who have it, and women are the ones who manage desire, you're already off to a bad start. Many marriages have inherited this strange framework where sex and desire feel like offense versus defense, right? The men pursue, the women gatekeep. The men want it, the women decide whether and when it's allowed. Some marriages are like Alabama trying to put up points against Bryant Haynes and the Hoosiers, right? It's really good football. It's not a good marriage. I got some good laughs back there. I've been good. I've been playing nice for a while on that, right? I'm allowed to joke. I lived in Bloomington for 18 years. Okay, now, while that is undeniably great football, it is pretty unbiblical and an unhealthy view of desire, and it's a function of our modern brokenness, where the world we live in doesn't understand the first thing about men or women or desire or how God actually designed it to work. This book was written 3,000 years ago. 3,000 years ago in the highly patriarchal Middle East, and this woman is just very comfortable saying her desires out loud. From the word go. She's initiating, and she does it consistently throughout this book. And she's not conflicted. She's not uncomfortable. She has no notion that anything she's doing is wrong or needs to be suppressed. And this is presented as if this is just normal behavior between a man and a woman. Now, that should make you stop and ask some hard questions, right? I thought the patriarchy suppressed and repressed women. I thought feminism freed them to finally become sexual creatures. I don't know. I mean, read the book. If your inhibitions are more than this woman's, I don't know. This woman wants to be kissed. She's letting her man know. So whatever story you've been told that women are naturally less desiring or less romantic or less sexual, that they don't initiate or that they shouldn't, or that their role is to act like they're above it all, or that this type of freedom can only come through sexual anarchy, the Bible's not going to let you keep that story. This is the evidence right here in front of you. The Bible assumes something healthier. The Song of Solomon assumes something stronger. That when sex and desire are where they belong, in the fireplace of marriage, and when they're framed rightly, when they're not treated as God or as gross, but as God's gift to us, that's when a husband and wife are truly free to be sexual creatures with each other. Free to initiate, free to pursue, free to say what you want, what you like, free to say, hey, come here. And can I say something to the ladies since we're friends? Guys need that sort of thing. Like they need to be told. I know it's romantic to believe your husband should automatically know what you want at all times through sheer intuition and a good and healthy prayer life, but that's just not the way that men work. We're very simple creatures. He's not a mind reader. Sometimes men need help. Sometimes he needs a map. Sometimes he needs to be pointed in the right direction. Okay, now here's the point. Right out of the gate, what we see is that healthy romance is not a power struggle. It's not transactional. It's not manipulation, and it's not reciprocity. It's not the man chases and the woman runs. It is mutual, shared, and it's a gift. Desire is not the problem. The problem is when desire is out of step with the rhythm and beat of God's law, when it tries to get outside the fireplace of marriage, when it outruns wisdom. Last week I said it like this: attraction is the spark, wisdom is the test, and the covenant of marriage is the fireplace. And this week we're not backing away from desire or toning it down. We're not going to be embarrassed of something that God has made for our good and our pleasure and something that he himself delights in. And this book doesn't ease us in gently. It's not full of disclaimers or explanations. It begins with a bang. Let him kiss me with the kisses of his mouth. Opening line, no apology, no warning label, which tells us what? God is not the one uncomfortable with attraction and desire. We are. And there are reasons for that. We've seen what desire can do when it's ungoverned. Many of us have been burned. We know firsthand how it can blind people and wreck families and hollow out souls. But the temptation then is to distance ourselves from desire instead of learning how to handle it. Desire is powerful and it's a gift. So what the song teaches us is not to suppress it, but to form it. Well, Jake, that's not easy because I have brokenness in my past and guilt and shame and pain and trauma. It's okay. It's okay. But it's not healthy, which means you can't stay there. The pain of your past is not an excuse to refuse to grow into the health and the healing that God has for you. You have to work that out, and that's something that only you can do. But guys, you can help. So check it out. She's going to say out loud why this man is so desirable to her. If you're a dude, it's time to take notes, right? Get out your phone, your notes app. This is a woman saying what she wants, and she actually means it, and God confirms it, okay? She continues. Your anointing oils are fragrant. Your name is oil poured out. Therefore, the young women love you. Okay, so the obvious is where we're going to start, right? She is attracted to him. Part of that attraction is physical. He smells good, which means, brace yourselves for this, he bathes, he grooms, he takes care of himself. So fellas, if the kissing of verse 2 is not happening the way that you want, maybe it's possible that the place to start is the grooming in verse 2. Or verse 3. I mean, it's possible that your wife really loves the smell of corn chips. It's possible she really prefers one eyebrow to two. It's possible that she grew up watching Saturday morning cartoons and she saw all those commercials and the deepest desire of her heart was a Chia Pet and she never got it until she found you. But it's not likely. It's not likely. Let me tell on myself for a second. Amanda has teased me for years about my beard being too pokey. She prefers the beard. She doesn't want me to shave it, right? I'm much more handsome when my face is covered than when you can actually see it. She likes the beard, but she doesn't want it attacking her face. So I've taken that seriously. I use conditioner. I trim it up. I use angles to take the edge off. I put thought into it. And yet, this Christmas, in my stocking, I got beard oil. I thought I was doing a good job. Apparently not good enough. Message received. Right? Yes, ma'am, reporting for duty, beard oil. Hey, now we laugh. This actually matters, okay? Like, try brushing your teeth. Try taking a shower. Try wearing clothes that fit and have buttons. Pay attention to your hands. Keep those nails trimmed and filed and clean. If your beard looks less like you grew it out of your face and more like you sneezed it out of your nose, there's solutions for that, okay? I thought that one was good. Some of them you just got to think about for a second, right? Now, listen, I don't want to make a bigger deal out of this than I should. I was talking to Amanda about this part of the sermon. She was like, men are simple creatures. You know that? I've learned that over 20 years. What's going to happen is some dude's going to stop on the way home from church at Walmart, get some Old Spice, and then be like, all right, let's go to the bedroom, baby. It doesn't work that way. And then next Sunday, the church is going to smell like a high school locker room, like Axe body spray and disappointment, right? Okay, guys, if that's the lesson, you're an idiot, okay? It's not the lesson. Grooming is a small part of the picture, but it's a real part of the picture. It's in the Bible for a reason. It matters, and I'm going to tell you why. It goes beyond smells. The thing I need you to see before we move on to what really matters is that neglecting yourself is not manly or humble. It's just cringe. Like vanity is cringe. Vanity and self-neglect are big red flags. They trigger what we call an ick response, a visceral, intuitive reaction in women that says, no, no. In other words, vanity and neglect both communicate something about a man, and that's that you can't or won't take care of a woman. Someone obsessed with their appearance is just self-absorbed. They're selfish. It's all about them. But someone who neglects himself is either irresponsible or broken. Here's what I mean. At best, some men are just clueless. They need to be taught. But the thing about clueless men is that they won't know, unless they're taught or helped, how to take care of a lady. They may mean well, but they're going to need some help and patience and a lot of work. That's the best case. At worst, sometimes that type of neglect comes from darker places. Sometimes neglect is rooted in pain that has curdled into self-loathing. And a man who doesn't like himself is not going to treat himself well. And a man who doesn't treat himself well will eventually take that out on someone else, namely his wife. Unaddressed self-hatred does not stay contained. It leaks out. It shows up as passivity, as anger, as emotional withdrawal, as criticism, as control. And often he doesn't know he's doing it. Where does that kind of self-loathing come from? It often starts early with a father who never affirmed him, or a home where love was conditional, a boy who learned he was tolerated but not delighted in, a man who internalized the lie that I'm the problem. And if that wound is never brought to the light, if it's never healed by God, it doesn't disappear or get fixed when he gets married. It just gets redirected. And that doesn't mean he's doomed or disqualified. It means there's work to do, because a good man, a man of character, takes responsibility for everything in his life, starting with himself. And ultimately, it doesn't matter whether his daddy loved him or not. The pain is real. It deserves compassion and healing. That man needs to know and learn to feel the love of God. But the pain of the past is not an excuse to remain trapped by it. It's another bit of the work that has to be taken up with God if a man's going to become a healthy Christian man who can love a wife and raise a family. This is the inescapable reality. How you treat your body, how you tend your life, does in fact say something about you, about how you handle responsibility. It's not the whole story, but it's part of the story. Your body's not incidental to who you are. It's one place where your character shows up in the world, and Scripture makes this connection explicit. In Ephesians 5, Paul says this: in the same way, husbands should love their wives as their own bodies. He who loves his wife loves himself. For no one ever hated his own flesh, but nourishes it and cherishes it, just as Christ does the church, because we are members of his body. Well, think about it. No man ever hated his own flesh, but nourishes it and cherishes it. That's the foundation for how a husband is to love his wife. Paul assumes that a healthy man already knows how to take care of his own body, and that he does. And then he asserts that that kind of care is the pattern for how he's going to love his wife and how he ought to love his wife. So this is red flag, green flag stuff, right? It matters. How you care for yourself is often a preview of how you'll care for your woman, men. People who don't take care of what's right in front of them in the mirror are probably not going to take care of somebody else. It's not about impressing anybody. It's not about image. It's about character. So the response here, men, is not grab a stick of deodorant, grab a breath mint, and you're cool, right? It's definitely not grab the Axe body spray. There are plenty of ways to cover up and run from a root issue. Obsessing about outward appearance is one of those ways to do it. The point is, you have to actually learn to take responsibility for yourself. Now, the real sauce is what comes next, okay? Right? That's the surface. But she doesn't just stay at the surface. She doesn't just say he smells good. The outside's a reflection of what's inside. But what's inside is what really counts. She says, your name is oil poured out. What does that mean? In Scripture, your name is you. It's your character. It's your reputation. It's everything. Proverbs 22:1 says, a good name is to be chosen rather than great riches, and favor is better than silver or gold. Your name is who you are over time. It's who you are when people watch you work and make decisions. It's how you handle pressure. It's how you treat others who can't give anything back. And this dude has a good name. He has a good reputation. And there's proof of it. It's not just how he makes her feel. It's not a trick that he's played. She adds this line, therefore the young women love you. In other words, there's social proof. This man is recognized by her friends as a good man, a desirable man. He has a real reputation and honor, and that matters. He's not a secret. He's not isolated. This couple is not in some private romantic bubble detached from reality or other people. Other people see this dude's life. Wise, godly people are observing this whole relationship throughout the song. They show up and they talk about it. They show up in today's passage. That matters. And those people watching respect this man. Biblical attraction is not something that exists in fantasy or in isolation. It exists in community. It holds up under scrutiny. It doesn't need to be hidden away. It lives in families and relationships. It lives in work and in community. And so here's a good rule for any single ladies in the crowd. If the people in your life that you look up to don't respect a dude, he is not somebody worth romanticizing. I'm talking about your parents, your pastors, your good godly friends who want what's best for you, which is not all your friends all the time, right? And if a dude avoids being known by your friends and family and the wise and godly people you trust, and instead wants to isolate you from them, you run. Not a good dude. This is just biblical wisdom, right? A lot of people can be attractive in a photograph or on social media or in a room, but fewer people are attractive over time. Chemistry can feel immediate, but character is cumulative. So there are two ways of looking at this passage if you're single. The first is, who should I be looking for? But more importantly, it's who should I become? Who do I need to be? What kind of person would a wise, godly woman rightly desire? How do I become that? And that's not just for single people too, right? Marriage is not the finish line. We want to spend our lives growing in godliness and character. We want to become more attractive to our husband and wife over time. The lesson's here for everybody. But back to the basics. Attraction wakes you up. That's normal. That's natural. It's part of God's design, right? Step one, hey, she's cute. Hey, he's handsome and he smells nice. He takes care of himself. That's cool. Attraction wakes you up and gets your attention. But character is what makes love safe. You have to go beyond the externals. If you let desire alone rule you, what's going to happen is you're going to narrow your vision. It's going to put a spotlight on one thing. Everyone and everything else will fade into the dark. Wisdom turns the house lights back on. It says, let's see the whole picture. Attraction wakes you up, but you can't let it rule you or you're going to be a fool. Before the song talks about boundaries or tries to slow anything down or say wait, it starts with a woman who desires a man who takes care of himself, who has a good public reputation and steady character. And that's proven not just by her feelings, but by other people that she knows and trusts. She's in good hands. So she continues, draw me after you, let us run. The king has brought me into his chambers. And yes, that means what you think it means. But watch what comes next. We will exult and rejoice in you. These are the people watching. We will extol your love more than wine. Rightly do they love you. She wants this man. They want each other. And this is the chorus of wise and godly onlookers watching and saying, yes, this is right. This is good. Now let me shift it slightly, because this is how I think as a dad with daughters. When a young man comes knocking on my door, and one day, God help me, eventually, hopefully not too soon, it's going to come, right? Here's what I'm not going to care about. I'm not going to care about how intense his feelings are or how strong the chemistry is. I'm going to want to know a few simple things. Do you love Jesus? Are you kind of man who shows up when you say you will? Do you work hard? Do you take responsibility? Do other people trust you over time? Are you humble? Can you receive correction without falling apart or getting defensive? Are you committed to growing and becoming a better man? In other words, do you have a name? Do you have a reputation? Are you dependable? Feelings are easy to catch. That's the easy part. Consistency is rare. Charm can be learned. Charisma can be learned, put on. Charm is deceitful. Beauty is vain and fleeting. Character is revealed over time. Here's what I know from Scripture and experience. A man who cannot govern himself will not be able to govern his household well. And a man who's not known publicly cannot be trusted privately. And a man who avoids responsibility is going to pass it on to other people and make them pay for it. Okay. End of the first scene. Okay? Watch what happens next. She doesn't just desire this man. In response to his character and reputation, she begins to then locate herself in the relationship. That draws some things to the surface in her. I am dark but lovely, O daughters of Jerusalem, like the tents of Kedar, like the curtains of Solomon. That's an interesting sentence. I am dark but lovely. What she doesn't say is, don't hate me because I'm beautiful. And what she doesn't say is, I'm ugly and worthless. What she does is something much more mature. I am dark but lovely. She knows she has something to offer. But she is dark and tanned, and in her world that matters. In the ancient Near East, fair skin was the beauty standard. Fair skin meant leisure, it meant wealth and status, and dark tanned skin meant exposure. It meant responsibility. It likely meant poverty. It meant you'd be out doing the work while others were protected. So it's the opposite of today, right? Pasty was in, tan was out. That's how it was. So this is a woman who knows something about herself. She knows that she does not meet the cultural standards of beauty. She's not confused about that. She's not pretending that she does. She's not trying to spin it or fake it. She also knows she has something to offer. I'm dark, but I am lovely. And the Hebrew there, like many, many places throughout, like your translation, is actually stronger than lovely. It's less lovely and more desirable. I'm dark, but desirable. She's got some confidence, but she does have a question. There are cultural standards of beauty, and I don't meet them. Her man is a man of high status. She's not. You following this? She explains why things are the way they are. She says, my mother's sons were angry with me. They made me keeper of the vineyards, but my own vineyard I have not kept. So this is the explanation. Throughout this book, we're going to see her brothers and her mom in the picture. We're not going to see dad there. Probably has something to do with how she's been treated. Life has marked this woman. Life has forced her to be responsible, to work hard. She's been exposed. Some part of herself has gone unattended. She hasn't tended to her own vineyard. She hasn't taken care of herself. Not necessarily because she's been reckless or neglectful, but because responsibility came early for her. That's important. Some people don't neglect their vineyard because they're careless, but simply because survival came first. Somebody had to carry the load. Somebody had to step up. Somebody had to be strong before they were ready. And some of you know exactly what this feels like. Oldest kids, caregivers, people who grew up fast, people who had to learn competence while other kids were learning to play. She's not ashamed of it. She's aware of it, though. She needs some assurance. Because while she does have confidence, she also has some level of insecurity here, right? I mean, I think it's pretty fair to say many women struggle with insecurity about their appearance, especially when measured against cultural standards of beauty. If that was true of this woman, how much more for us, right? She just had the world around her to compare herself to. Like her neighbors, like literal neighbors, that's it. That's who she was comparing herself to. She didn't have social media. She didn't have movie stars or porn stars to compete with. She was competing with her literal neighbors, but you ladies are competing with the whole world. It's a tough place to be. So the fact that she's a little insecure about meeting the cultural standards and how that might impact how her man looks at her, it's not something we can afford to brush past, right? She feels pretty common to herself. She feels pretty average. She feels pretty unexceptional. Later on, she's going to call herself a rose of Sharon and a lily of the valleys. Sound romantic? It's actually not. It's not. If you know bushes and shrubs, this is not the rose of Sharon that you know. It's just common wildflower. We stuck with that translation because we wanted something analogous in English that we could relate to, and it just sort of stuck. It's just a common wildflower. A lily of the valley. In valleys, lilies are a dime a dozen. They just grow everywhere. They're common, ordinary, widespread, easy to overlook, not special. Still beautiful in their own right. Still a flower, but not uniquely beautiful. So here she is. She's got some confidence. She knows she's desirable. She knows she has something to offer. She's still a lovely flower, but she's mature, and she knows that by the world's standards, she is not all that rare or special or unique. And so here's the question hanging in the air. Is that okay? Is that okay? Does that matter to you? Do I have to be something else to make you happy? Do I need to fit a mold? Do I need to compete with the movie stars? Can I be loved as I am? And you need to understand what she's not saying here is, I feel really bad about myself, so make me feel better about myself. Fill up my insecurities with flattery. Not what she's saying. She's saying, this is who I am. I can't pretend to be something I'm not. What I need is to be accepted as I am or rejected as I am. And that takes courage. Here's the real question. Is it better to present yourself honestly and risk rejection? Or is it better to present an illusion and then have the illusion embraced? If you present a lie and the lie is what's loved, guess what? You're not what's loved. It's the lie. That's no way to live. Biblical love and romance and attraction and desire are not built on a fantasy. Love that's built on an illusion collapses under pressure. But love that's built on the truth has a chance to last. So she doesn't apologize for her story. She doesn't minimize it, and she doesn't weaponize it. She just names it, puts it out there, waits to see what he'll do with it. And that's not insecurity so much as it is wisdom and discernment. This is what healthy people do. They don't demand that others stabilize them. They don't rush into intimacy to secure a sense of worth. They don't hide who they are to keep somebody else around. They bring it all into the light. This is who I am. I need to be accepted on those terms. I believe there's somebody out there who will love me for me. I have something to offer. That's what you want. Not the lie, not the illusion, not the performance, the real thing. Okay, so right here, after she's told the truth about herself and she's put herself out there, she's put her story on the table, she's made herself vulnerable and in the open, she asks another question. She says, tell me, you whom my soul loves, where you pasture your flock, where you make it lie down at noon, lest I be like one who veils herself beside the flocks of your companions. Okay, she wants to find him at work for lunch. She doesn't want to mess it up. Okay, let me lay out the situation real quick. Let me explain to you why I think it matters and how it connects. Okay, so in this world, a woman veiled, wandering among the flocks, especially near men, usually has a purpose. It's not a good one. Okay? She wants to come find him for lunch in the fields. She doesn't want to be seen as inappropriate. She doesn't want to be misread. She doesn't want to be shamed. And I think under all of that is a very simple relational question. If I show up where your real life happens, will you claim me? Will you be proud of me in front of the boys? Will you protect my dignity? Will you stand with me in the open, or are you going to pretend like you don't know me in front of your friends? Like, he's known to her people. She wants to be known to his. She wants to be owned by him in front of his people. It's a test. It's a relational test. She wants clarity and proof. And that's a kind of normal thing, right? This is the kind of test we know about. We see it in real life. It's a point of dramatic tension in rom-coms for a reason, right? Cool guy takes interest in a pretty girl, pretty but maybe slightly dorky, right? Like not the cheerleader type. And then she's going to show up at the party, or she's going to show up when he's out with the boys, or at the ball game. And now it's serious. Guy goes off to college. Girl shows up and needs to see if he's embarrassed of her in front of the guys. Is he serious about her? Or is she just for fun? Is this for real, or is she a guilty pleasure? How do you respond to that, boys? Watch what this dude does, okay? This is his response. First time the man speaks. If you do not know, O most beautiful among women, follow the tracks of the flock. In other words, hey, babe, you know where to find me. I'm not hiding. I'm not living a double life. I'm not embarrassed by you. Bring it on. Come over to work. Come meet the boys. And then without skipping a beat, this is what he says. I compare you, my love, to a mare among Pharaoh's chariots. Your cheeks are lovely with ornaments, your neck with strings of jewels. Okay, now if you're taking notes, right, probably the lesson to learn is when your wife puts her insecurities out there and says, I want to come by the office, you just say, you look like a horse, right? It's going to work. It's going to be great. All the Valentine's Day cards, right, just put, you remind me of a horse. And it's going to work out well for you. Okay, here's what's going on. Let me explain. She's been honest, right? She wants to know that he's all in. She feels pretty common and average. So what's he going to do with that? What's he going to do with her? This is the moment that he either proves he's safe, he's the real deal, or he shows how dangerous he is. What he doesn't do is dodge the question. He doesn't minimize her concern. He doesn't correct her. He doesn't ask her to become something else, and he doesn't try to exploit or take advantage of the vulnerability that she's shown. He just comes right back at her. You know where to find me, but here's what you need to know. I compare you, my love, to a mare amongst Pharaoh's chariots. Now, Pharaoh's chariots were the most elite, impressive, intimidating power on earth, the epitome of strength, order, and control. Now, famously, one of the greatest defeats of Pharaoh's army happened when this dude, his name is Tutmosis III, sent mares in heat into battle among Pharaoh's chariots. And it just wrecked all of Pharaoh's chariots. It wrecked all the horses. It wrecked them all. What's he saying? Hey, if you want to show up to where real life happens, bring it on. But don't think for 1 second you're going to be embarrassed or overlooked. You're going to be a distraction, though. It's going to be hard to focus on work. At least for me, probably for the dudes too. He's flirting. It's playful. It's confident. He's using pet names. He's making it clear he's all in on her. And he's shifting her perspective from hers to his. Unsafe men respond to vulnerability by exploiting it. Good men lend their strength. He keeps going. He says, your cheeks are lovely with ornaments, your neck with strings of jewels. What he's not saying is, girl, all you need is a makeover. It's cool. I'm Solomon. I'm going to just put some jewels on that neck. It's going to be great. What's the part of her body that's going to be the most burnt and dark from working the fields? We call them rednecks for a reason, guys. It's to be her face and her neck, right? So when he praises her, he says, your cheeks and your neck are lovely. And you use them well. The pearls pop on that neck. He meets her right where she's insecure. He doesn't prop her up. He just tells her what he sees. Okay, now if you have any doubt about this, skip ahead with me. First, you need to not have any doubts, because why? Because we're skipping ahead. Okay? One thing led to another, right? This is one of the parts we're going to skip over. Then we're going to come to chapter 2, verse 1. She's going to say this. I already alluded to it. I'm a rose of Sharon, a lily of the valleys. In other words, yeah, but I still feel pretty common and average. Okay, so a couple things here. One, she needs to be reassured more than once. That's normal. And then here's his response. As a lily among thorns, so is my love among the daughters. Okay, now, here's what he's doing. Here's what he doesn't say. Oh, you're the best lily in all the field of lilies. No, babe, you're prettier than all the other wildflowers. He doesn't even pick a prettier flower to compare her to the other flowers. What he does is he removes her from comparison altogether. He reframes everything. You're not a lily among lilies. You're a lily among thorns. In Scripture, there's nothing neutral about thorns. They're invasive, they're painful, they're a fruit of the fall. A lily doesn't just outshine thorns. They don't belong in the same category. He's not denying reality, but he is recategorizing her beauty. She thinks she's pretty ordinary. She says, he says, you don't even belong in the category you think you're in. You're comparing yourself to the wrong standard. She says, I don't meet the world's standards of beauty. He says, I'm not using their standard. Forget their standard. You are my standard. Now, this is the good stuff, okay? What's happening here goes down deep, but you have to buy into it. You have to trust God and believe in him. As we move throughout this song, you're going to see something. This man does not just affirm his girl generally. It's not like, yeah, you're pretty great for me. It's not, well, if you can't love the one you want, love the one you're with. He is all in on this woman to the point that he describes himself later as being intoxicated with her. As we go through the song, we're going to see him praising every part of her, and not just the parts that the culture would have celebrated. He praises details of her that would not be considered beautiful by any conventional standards. Like a little later, he's going to describe her nose. It's very big. He compares it to towers. And he's like, and it's perfect, beautiful. I mean, how flattering would you, he describes her belly as a bowl full of wine and as heaps of wheat. And says, it's beautiful. With him, there's no irony about that. There's no apology. There's no pretending, and there is no self-deception. This is actually what happens inside the safety of covenant love. When a man means his vows, when he truly forsakes all others, this is just what happens. There is outer beauty, the kind of beauty the world traffics in. It is real. It's objective. It's undeniable. And then there's the beauty of the woman you love. And it's even more real. They're not the same things. They are, in fact, categorically different. Superficial beauty is real, but it is also generic and comparative, and it exists at a distance. The beauty of love is personal and particular and embodied. And physical beauty cannot be separated from memory and affection and laughter and sacrifice and intimacy and a shared life. And when you love a woman, really love her, everything you love about her begins to shape everything else that you see so that she does, in fact, become your standard down to the last detail. That's why it's not true that love is blind. Love is not blind. Love sees in technicolor. There is a beauty intrinsic to another person made in God's image that can only be revealed and seen and fully enjoyed inside the covenant bonds of marriage. Outside of marriage, attraction is flat. It is black and white. It's disconnected from meaning. It's disconnected from the person. It's disconnected from the soul. Within the covenant of marriage, when you honor it, when you give yourself to it, when you fully give your heart to it, desire and attraction only deepen. It's like the visible spectrum of beauty went from here to here. You just see more than you knew was possible. You see colors that you never knew existed. Well, Jake, I've been married 5-10 years, and if I'm being honest, I don't really feel that way. Well, first of all, that's pretty normal. But here's why. The more you feed desire in one direction, the more desire grows in that direction. Desire is not something that is static. It's formed by what you give it to eat. And this is why we all struggle to believe the Bible and to believe what I just said is actually true. We live in a pornified culture that tells us desire only works in one direction, and novelty is required, or satisfaction fades. But it's the opposite. That's the dissipation of desire. It's desire spread thin. When your eyes and your heart have been fed from your youth on the wrong things, and you've continued that into your adult life, and you've continued that into your marriage, you have trained yourself to spread desire thin and keep it superficial, which then requires you to pursue constant novel stimulus. And that's how porn use leads over time to fetishes that destroy normal and healthy desire and attraction. But when desire is protected and focused on one person, and it's fed within the covenant bonds of marriage, it doesn't dissipate, it intensifies. Not because the person becomes objectively different, but because there's so much more beauty to see and to explore. And it doesn't end, and it doesn't fade with age. Which is why, statistically, the most sexually satisfied people in the world are monogamous married couples in their 60s. If the outward beauty of youth was so important, it simply wouldn't work that way. But it does. It's a miracle of God's design, and it's reality. And it's a reality you need to embrace and allow to take over. Because when you do, the beauty of the woman you love truly becomes incomparable. By all other metrics and standards, she might be pretty common, but once you abandon comparison, all bets are off. Now she's not measured against others, she becomes the measure. That's what's happening here. When he says you're a lily among thorns, he's not saying you're the prettiest option available. He's saying the whole field's changed for me. I don't see anything the same way I used to. His desire hasn't been narrowed, it's been concentrated. Over time, desire matures. We're all going to get old. It doesn't matter how long or hard we fight it, gravity's always going to win. Pure objective external beauty is real, but it is also fleeting and it fades. And it is possible for attraction to shift with age and for it to deepen with familiarity when it binds itself to the whole person. Body, voice, presence, history, faith, shared life. When you single in on one person, you don't lose a world of wildflowers. You gain a single solitary lily among a sea of thorns. You're given the gift of focus. No more looking around, no more what ifs, no more shallow relationships. Love is not a commodity. It is singular and irreplaceable. Everyone who trades it is in fact an idiot, which is how the song ends. Anyone who's gone down that road understands it. This is the moral formation of desire. The moral formation of desire. It's God's design. She offers him the truth. She's honest. And he says, yes, that's perfect. You're my lily among thorns. Now, if you can imagine, this leads to other things, so we have to skip ahead again. Because the verbal exchange leads to a different kind of exchange. Or three. Feel free to read and discuss at home on your own. Put it to practice on your own time. Okay? We're going to skip ahead to a warning. Because something this good has to be protected. Okay? This is how this part of the song ends. So skipping ahead to verse 7. I adjure you, O daughters of Jerusalem, by the gazelles or the does of the field, that you not awaken love until it so desires. Okay, so what we have is desire that doesn't hide, praise that creates safety instead of pressure, love that concentrates desire instead of scattering it. Here's the key. Love of that kind is not something that you can rush. You rush things that you're afraid will disappear. Illusions disappear. But real love is something you guard because it matters. So for you singles, slow down and ask a hard question. If you feel the urge to rush love, to accelerate intimacy, to skip clarity, to move faster than wisdom, to keep things in the dark instead of proving them in the light of friendship and community, you need to ask why. What insecurity is driving that urgency? Are you operating in the light? Are you building on the truth? Or are you building an illusion? Are you trying to be known or just chosen? Are you offering yourself honestly or are you managing perceptions in order to get what you want? Rushing love isn't about love, it's about fear. Fear of being alone, fear of losing the moment, fear of if I slow down, the truth might surface, I might be found out. You don't build love on fear, you build it on the truth. Don't awaken love before it's time. Don't light the fire and then ask whether the house is ready. Build the house first. Fire is a gift that belongs in the fireplace, but a fireplace actually needs a home to warm. If attraction is meant to move toward marriage, and it is, part of honoring desire is asking a very simple question. Am I actually in a position where marriage can responsibly be on the horizon? Not hypothetically, not someday, not eventually, and also not perfectly or ideally, just realistically, responsibly. Have you built the house? Can you? Do you have work or a clear path toward it, the ability to provide, even just modestly? Are you positioning yourself to protect your virtue? Because attraction grows, and as attraction grows, pressure grows. Pressure to spend more time together, pressure to blur boundaries, pressure to fulfill what desire is awakening in you. If marriage is not actually possible or plausibly near, then you're lighting a fire in a house that doesn't exist yet. That's foolish. And God's not saying don't desire. He's saying desire wisely. So for some, wisdom looks like patience, like not now, not yet. You got time. For others, it looks like getting your life in order. The time could be now or soon, but you got to get it in gear. For others, it may look like stopping a relationship that can't go where desire is pulling it. It's just wisdom and protection. If you're single, don't rush intimacy, not physically, not emotionally, just to feel chosen. Don't awaken love just to stabilize your sense of self-worth. Let desire grow at the speed of trust and clarity and readiness. If you're dating or talking or whatever it is the kids are doing these days, don't use intensity as feelings of proof. Guard yourself, protect yourself from intensity of feelings until you have wisdom and clarity. Be honest and watch how your honesty is handled. Set good boundaries and honor them. Watch when somebody tries to push past them. We'll come back to some of this more next week. This is what I want you to walk away with. This is the whole sermon in one sentence. Don't treat desire like a toy. It's a fire. Fire is a gift, but a gift in the right place. Attraction is not enough. Chemistry is not enough. Intensity is not enough. The spark isn't what makes love safe. It's character, a name, a reputation, consistency over time. It's a man who can govern himself. It's a woman who can be honest without manipulation. It's two mature people who know who they are and what they want and who can live in the light. You don't need to be, like if you're single, you don't need to be afraid of desire, but you need to be wise about it. Don't awaken love before you've built the house for it to live in. Don't light a fire and wonder why everything keeps getting burned. Feel the urge to rush it, to blur boundaries, to skip clarity, to live in secrecy. You need to ask what fear is driving that, because real love isn't afraid. Rejoices in the truth. Now, some of you married people are thinking, man, where'd that spark go? Desire grows where you feed it. Don't chase novelty. Stop comparing your husband or your wife to the world. Stop buying into the lie that your love and your feelings are what sustain the marriage. It's your vows, your commitment that sustains the love and desire that you have and fuels it. Recommit yourself to your vows and each other. Feed desire in the right direction. Rebuild trust that's been broken. Desire grows where you feed it. Some of you are here with real brokenness. You've awakened love too early, or somebody awakened it in you, and you have shame and pain and regret. The good news is the Bible doesn't just tell us what love is supposed to be. It tells us who heals what we've broken. Jesus doesn't just forgive sexual sin. He washes us clean. He restores what's been stolen. He retrains our hearts. He makes us new. If you bring him your past, he doesn't throw you away. He redeems you. So if you're single, build the house. If you're married, tend the fire. Men, become the kind of man a wise woman can trust. Women, become the kind of woman who is confident and honest and can be fully herself before God and her man. Bring your desires under the goodness of God, because sex is not God and it is not gross. It is his gift. And God wants to teach you how to hold it like a gift. Not worship it, not fear it, but enjoy it with wisdom in the right place. Let's pray.